I know. The title's not clickbaity, I promise. And I know what you're thinking. All this hype out here for this bike. Everyone's saying such good things about it. What could possibly not make you want to buy it? So yeah, with all the hype out there, talking up this bike, it's hard to pick things. I was originally going to do a 5 reasons not to buy this, but I couldn't think of that many. I had to nitpick, but don't let the title fool you. I do love this bike with just a passion. I just put 600 miles on it. I'm at 622. It's a little over 1,000 kilometers. Whatever resonates with you better. But yeah, before I dive straight into this, there's 3 things I want to talk about, but I want to welcome you guys to Arizona. It's 94 degrees, clear skies, perfect weather. I'm feeling great. If you ride a bike, let me know what kind of bike you ride in the comments down below. We'll spark some conversation about that, get some talk going. Now, I'm going to jump right in. The reason number 1, I had to dig for it, but the reason number 1 that you should not buy this bike is if you leave the city environment, go to the mountains, go to the track, whatever you do for fun, and you like the adrenaline, the speed, the sheer power, you know, high class brakes, high class suspension, all the bells and whistles that super sports have. If you're accustomed to that, and that's what makes riding bikes fun for you, if that's your reason to ride, this one's fast, and it's got all the, I mean, it's got everything you need, but it's not top of the line fast. It doesn't have top of the line brakes. Hey buddy, this thing's fast. It's got decent brakes, it's got killer suspension, but it's not top of the line anything. It's just enough to do exactly what you need it to do. But if you're pushing everything, if you're pushing that suspension, you're working it hard, if that's your reason to ride, stick to what you've got. Sport bikes do a really good job of that. There's a reason sport bikes exist, and so they can keep pursuing better technology, better brakes, better suspension. They have to have a reason to keep pursuing that, and if you're chasing that, by all means keep doing that. This bike is not by any means top of the line everything. This is a good middleweight rally bike, like dual sport rally. This is that perfect middleweight. It's kind of got a class of its own at this point. I think the only bikes that really compete would be like the KTM 890, but this bike does a really good job of maintaining its own class. The second reason, now that we're at a stoplight and I don't have to fight the wind, the second reason is if you don't use it for what it's designed for, it's kind of pricey. Because if you want to buy it for in-town riding, street riding, commuting, that kind of stuff, there are better bikes out there for that. They're not going to be able to do off-road stuff. They're not going to be able to, you know, jump and wheelie and do all the fun stuff that you can do like out on trails and stuff. But if that's not if you don't have dirt trails where you live, if you can't just hop off the side of the road and go play in the dirt like we can here, then there are better street bikes. I'd say the MT-07 is really comparable. I mean, it's the exact same engine. Z650 is a really good street bike. The SV650 is the classic street bike in this category of engine. And then you've got things like, I mean, even hell, the Z900. It would still be cheaper than this one, the Z900, but you get more low-end torque, better brakes, or a better brake to weight ratio. So even if it's not top-of-line brakes, they still function better, in my opinion, than this one does, because of the way the suspension works and the way everything, the physics of the weight of the thing. But the Z900 is cheaper than this, and you can pick one of those up. It's got, you know, TFT dash. It's got, I think they just updated it, so now it has modes. I'm not sure. Yeah, don't quote me on that, but I think the new one's got even better electronic updates than the old ones. But they come in cheaper than this, and they got more torque low end. They're better on the street. because you don't have to work it so hard. The MT-09's in the same category as the Z900, but it's just got a different ergo. It's got the triple instead of the 4-cylinder. Same kind of low-end torque though, but you can, if you're not going to do what this bike's designed to do, I would recommend looking at those other street bikes, because I don't know, I feel all in all they do this job a little better. I'm gonna go get some cash back real quick and then I'll come back. Alright, got some snacks, shoved those in my jacket. Where was I? I remember talking about reason one was speed, performance, and all that nonsense. Number two was using it for what it's intended for. I mentioned some vehicles that are better at street than this, and by better I mean more or cheaper, but do the same thing. Like if you're not gonna take it off-road or anything, you got SP650, MT-07, Z650, or even you can throw, if you want to match price to this, you can go Z900, MT-09. Those are probably better street bikes than this for pure street. Honestly, even if you want to throw it up, you can go to the Triumph has a Trident 660 that just came out. That one's a pretty good bike, and that's on the low end of $8,000, where this is 10. I mean, if you're gonna do everything this is designed for, like I said, you're getting what you're paid for. If you upgrade to this, if you spend the coin on it, you're getting the tall suspension, the rally plate, off-road ABS that works really well. Like if you drop the coin on it and actually use the upgrades, it's a great bike. Like I said, if all you're gonna do is ride on the street, there are better options. But like if I needed to go that way to cut a corner for whatever reason as an escape route, this thing would handle it flawlessly. So for me, it's safety aspect. We have dirt all around us. Dirt's not usually an escape path, but this bike enables the dirt sidewalls and curbs and all of that to become my new escape routes. So now I'm thinking differently. But if you want to use this bike for trails, for on-road, throw some bags, do some traveling, do some off-road, go to the campsites, that kind of stuff, this bike is going to be great at it. I've jumped it. My last video, you can see me having a little bit of fun off-road. I'm not an off-road junkie. I'm not a dirt biker. So if you are, you're probably going to cringe. But I had fun. I got to catch air on this thing. But yeah, number two, just to recap, is if you're not going to use it for what it's intended for, it's a little pricey. But if you are going to use it for what it's designed for, it's perfect. The third reason not to buy this bike, if you're going to be touring on this thing, and if that's all you're going to be doing is touring, you're gonna have to plan your ride a little bit, plan out your gas stations, because this thing's got a 200-mile tank, realistically about 175, and I think it's about just shy of, what was that, 280 kilometers? Yeah, 281 going on 300 kilometers, yeah, per tank, which is a lot for a bike. I'm used to bikes doing about 100 to 150 for the bikes I've had in the past. So this one having 175, close to 200 if you feather it, that's pretty good. I can get behind that. But if you're going to be touring specifically, you may want to consider spending a little more money, because the KTM 890 Adventure has about 50 to 75 more miles per tank. I think it's like 250. And I feel like that one would be a better option for long distance. This one's comfy and everything, but I feel like if given my druthers, if I was going to be taking this across the country, I would want something else. This is great for off-road, great for adventuring, but for highway rides, just long draws on the highway. There's no cruise control, no heated grips, doesn't have a throttle lock stock, and putting one on, I like these grips. I don't want to kind of rub them off. And you'd have to plan out your gas stations every 150 miles to make it more realistic. So there are better options for touring. And by the way, if you notice, my three reasons were all nitpicks. They weren't like, oh, you should not buy this bike, because I love this bike, and anybody who does what I do on the road is going to love this bike. I've seen people do some insane things. I've seen trials riders do unheard of things on this bike. Road closed, local traffic only. No trespassing on state land. God, but it just wants to take me to freedom. Damn it. Okay, but yeah, those are my 3 nitpicks. Just highlighting the only downsides I've ever seen to this bike. For outright performance, sport bikes are going to be better than this. If you're not going to use this for what it's intended for, it's a little pricey. For the same price, you can get something better for the street. You can get something more in tune with dirt. You can get something better tuned for whatever else. This is a good middle ground for all of those options. And if you're going to use all of those options, this is a great bike to get. This isn't like a one bike specialized in every category. This is a one bike that's really damn good at every category. So for $10,000, you can specialize a little bit more into what you want to do. Reason number 3 is for highway use, for adventuring, touring, and all that. You don't have the grips, the heated grips. You don't have cruise controls. You don't have a huge gas tank that can take you 250, 300 miles. Those 3 negatives, I had to dig for those. But all 3 of those aside, I love this bike, and would not tell anybody not to get one. If they have the money and this is the bike they want, go for it. You're not gonna be let down about it. I'm gonna call it right there before I keep rambling on. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm gonna go get some editing done, have a good time with that. If you like this kind of content, let me know, let YouTube know, hit the like button, leave a comment down below. If you want to see something specific in the future, if you want me to touch on a subject, let me know about that. Welcome to Arizona, and we'll see you next time. Have a good day.